Parish of St. Constantine and Helen. This is Father Pandelemon on Tuesday, June 16. And I'm here just to offer a little bit of a pastoral update and just a few thoughts that have been on my mind that I wanted to share with you. First of all, it's been about 3 months now since we've been together as a full community, which is really shocking. In fact, the last Sunday we were all together was actually the Sunday of Orthodoxy, which is when we do the procession with all the icons. And we had many, many people there. So we went from having many, many people to having almost no people. Hopefully we'll be back to normal soon. We certainly miss you. I miss just giving out Untitled to everybody and being able to greet them as they leave the church at the end of liturgy. So you're thought about, you're prayed for, and we want you to know that. Also, a couple little sort of updates, just so you can know where things stand here at the church. The metropolis has given us a 4-phase plan to get us back to kind of where we were before this whole epidemic began. Right now we are at phase 3, which means, and we'll probably be at phase 3 for a while. Phase 3 means that we can have as many people in the church for services as our local city officials allow. What that means for us, our local city officials don't have a number that they've given us, but they have asked us to space out all of our parishioners when they come, to sort of social distance, as we call it. And so we are limited. And because of that, there's a sort of protocol that we're following. We ask you to follow it as well. Obviously, some people don't feel comfortable coming yet, and that's totally understandable. And we're understanding of that. For those who do want to come, what we're asking you to do is basically to sign up ahead. And what that means basically is calling or emailing the church office and letting them know that you'd like to be added, or your family or whoever, however many people it is, would like to be added to the Sunday attendance rotation. And so to do that, you should call the office. The number for the office is 414-778-1555. Or else you can email the office, and the email there is church@stsconstantinehelenwi.org. It's a mouthful. But if you'll contact the office, we will put you on that list, and then you'll be notified on the Sundays that you are able to come. So we thank you for honoring that and sort of following that for the time being. Hopefully it won't be for long. Also, a few things that are happening at the church, just so you know, you might already know. We have an adult ed class that we've started up for the summer. Basically, it's on Monday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. We're doing it via Zoom because we can't gather right now. And if you'd like to attend, as I said, it's really just an introductory course. It's an overview of sort of everything we believe, sort of in summary, as Orthodox Christians. If you'd like to know more, you can go to our church calendar, to go to our website, go to the Google Calendar. And if you go to Monday night at that time at 7 o'clock, you'll see a link that will allow you to get into the class. So if you'd like to do that, that's the place to go. We also have our Bible study, which usually runs through the school year, but because of COVID and everything being canceled, they've extended their class into the summer. So if you'd like to attend that, that is on Fridays from 10:30 to 11:30 in the morning. And the current study is on the book of Psalms in the Old Testament, so we encourage you to join us for that if you are able. That being the conclusion of the updates for our church, I want to offer now a little reflection. I oftentimes, especially now with this epidemic and us all being sort of scattered and not coming together, it's given me some time just to think about, honestly, about why we're here. Sort of, what is the mission of the church? Why do we exist? What is our purpose for being here as a body that gathers together to worship Jesus Christ? And I wanted to offer just a little presentation, a little slideshow actually, that I put together on some thoughts that relate to that topic. And so I named this little presentation, though, that I want to offer today, what is the mission of the church? Just a few slides, so follow along if you will. So first to define the terms. Mission is the primary purpose in which all Christian churches should be involved. These purposes typically include evangelism, discipleship, fellowship, ministry, and worship. So those really are the five main activities that the church needs to be involved in if it's going to call itself the church. In his book, High Expectations, The Remarkable Secret for Keeping People in Your Church, the author, Tom Rainer, undertook a study of nearly 300 Protestant Christian churches. And among the questions that were asked was a question on mission, which read as follows: name the purposes for which the church exists. And of course, we spoke about that. Those purposes are what we said a minute ago, right? Evangelism, discipleship, fellowship, ministry, and worship. And in doing this, he also did a little breakdown of his sample group. He broke these churches into two separate groups. He broke them into one group called the evangelistic churches and another that he called the non-evangelistic churches. And the way he came up with that breakdown was that the evangelistic churches were defined as churches where at least 26 people were received into that church through baptism the prior year. And the ratio of members to people that are baptized in a given year was less than 20-1, which basically means that for every 20 parishioners, there was at least one person being brought into the church and baptized into the church that prior year. So to the question of name the purposes for which the church exists, they discovered the following, looking at those two groups, right? 17% of parishioners in non-evangelistic churches could name 4 or 5 of the 5 purposes of the church. Amazingly, 91% of parishioners in evangelistic churches could do the same. That is a massive difference of around 73%. Allow me to close this little presentation with a quote on mission from a very well-known, very well-respected, very well-regarded missionary archbishop of our own day, the Archbishop of Albania, whose name is Anastasios. He was from Greece. And he says the following about mission. He says, church without mission is a contradiction in terms. If the church is indifferent to the apostolic work with which she has been entrusted, she denies herself, contradicts herself and her essence, and is a traitor in the warfare in which she is engaged. A static church which lacks a vision and a constant endeavor to proclaim the gospel to the ecumeni could hardly be recognized as the one holy Catholic and apostolic church to whom the Lord entrusted the continuation of his work. That being said, brothers and sisters, I guess I would just ask you, I mean, do we know what the mission is of the church? And I guess more importantly, if we don't know the mission of the church, how can we possibly live that mission in our lives as individuals and as a community? So I hope in the coming weeks to offer a few more little YouTube videos on this topic, just to educate us a little bit and perhaps challenge us a little bit in what we're doing so that we can really more fully be the messengers of the good news, which is what the gospel is, right? The word evangelion means good news, that we can be the messengers of that good news to the community in which we find ourselves. God bless you, and hopefully we'll see you all soon.